Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck and I teach all about parenting and good communication all over the world. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to discipline an ungrateful teenager. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about that word ungrateful, which is so negative, right? And then I'm also going to share with you 5 things that you can do to improve the gratitude in your child and to correct them when things go wrong. That word ungrateful, whenever you put an un in front of anything, it just is so heavy, isn't it? Because it means not grateful. So sometimes we think our children are not grateful when actually they probably do have some gratitude for some things. They just don't know how to show it well. Maybe they've developed a bad habit of being entitled. So entitlement oftentimes displays itself as ingratitude or seems like a person is ungrateful. You could have a teenager that's entitled. They feel like they want to have control over things. That can lead to ingratitude. They feel like they want to have a say in things. That could lead to ingratitude. They feel like you aren't perfect. That could lead to ingratitude. They feel like they should be respected more. That could lead to ingratitude. All these things are things that they should want. They should want to be respected. They should want to be listened to. They should want to be able to grow up and make some decisions for themselves. These are all very healthy, normal parts of adolescence. The problem is they don't know how to get what they want and maintain relationships at the same time. And so then it usually comes out as rude, ungrateful behavior. So then we find ourselves having to deal with that rude, ungrateful behavior. But I'm starting with this bit about why they end up that way so that you can recognize that on your side of it, there are some things that you can do. You can improve your communication with your child. So that's one thing. You can make sure that you're talking more openly with them and not just lecturing, but really having true talks with them, understanding where they're coming from, seeing what their needs might be developmentally during these adolescent years of their life. It's actually really hard to be a teenager, and sometimes they get pretty down. Sometimes they're even just hormonal. They feel like they just want to feel better that day, or they want more energy that day. They're so tired. They have a lot of pressure riding on them. There's stress coming in. All these things can come out as rude or ungrateful. We do need to understand a bigger picture as we're trying to help them. In fact, it's going to be really helpful if we sit down and have a one-on-one talk with them about who they are, about their behavior, and about where we go from here. So let's talk about how to set up that kind of a conversation with your teen. So I'm going to share with you 5 things that you can do to increase the gratitude in your child's heart. But before I do that, click that subscribe button. There's a lot of great content on this channel that you are going to need to create that environment where gratitude becomes the normal instead of the rare occurrence. Click on that subscribe button now. All right, number 1 is open communication. Like I already mentioned before, we're going to open up that door to communication by having a talk with our child. Now, I call these special talks that are only about one issue, and remember to keep it only about one issue. We're talking about gratitude and ingratitude, okay? That's our one issue. And that is going to be handled in a talk that I call a parent counseling session. So there are some key attributes to a parent counseling session. Number 1, it's private. Okay, that's super important. We don't just start having conversations about somebody's ungratefulness in front of an entire group. It puts them on the defensive. You're going to have more rude behavior. You're going to have distance in your relationship. They're not going to feel like you respect them at all. Now, I know you're thinking, well, they're not respecting me when they're doing that. I know, but have this conversation where you address the whole thing and how you will address it in public later in private. Okay? So you have this private conversation. You're calm. They're calm. It's not a situation where somebody has just been being rude and they're still feeling a little antagonistic or rude toward you. No. Right now, they're okay. They're calmed down. Every situation has been solved. You are now going to have a good open discussion about the problem. You are going to describe what you've seen and then say, have you noticed that? What have you seen? Or why do you think you go to that place? What thoughts go through your head at that time when you are feeling like you're ungrateful or going to be rude to me or your father? Just ask them maybe if they can analyze a little bit of that. And maybe they have some thought that comes into their head like they don't understand. And say, well, maybe if you feel like we don't understand, we should give you something you can do to help us listen to you more at that time, and so that you can get more understanding. Boom, you just solved a huge problem. So maybe they need a skill. And so at that time, I might say, remember that skill that I taught you a while back? Because in the Teaching Self-Government parenting system, we teach our children skills. And there are 4 basic skills that they need to learn for success. And you're going to teach these 4 basic skills before you ever even have this parent counseling session with your child. But one of those 4 basic skills is disagreeing appropriately. And you might remind them of the steps for how to disagree appropriately. And if they ever ask you, Mom, may I disagree appropriately about not being able to go to the party or whatever it is, that you will always say, yes, you may disagree appropriately. And you will listen to them. You will understand them. You'll hear them out. And that you'll repeat back to them what they said so that they know that you fully understood. Then you'll make a decision, and they'll still have to accept your decision, whether it's yes or no. But they will have been understood, which hopefully will increase their gratitude for you because you took the time to listen. Oftentimes, they don't recognize the time we're taking. Maybe sometimes we're not taking as much time as we should or as they need. We've got to make sure we give them that. So seeing why they might be catering these ungrateful thoughts in this parent counseling session is a super good idea. So after we talk about why maybe the person might be struggling with ingratitude, let's talk about what gratitude is. How about you tell them what gratitude is? Did you know gratitude is the seed of love? When a person feels love for someone, they're grateful for them, even if they're not perfect. They're grateful for their effort. When a person needs to improve love or increase love in their relationship, gratitude is the seed that they plant. They decide to be grateful for that person. They decide that the person has value. And boom, before they know it, they love the person. Gratitude and love go hand in hand. So if a person seems like they're ungrateful, then what happens to the love in the relationship? It gets damaged. It can start waning. So you've got to make sure that you explain that to your child too. After you talk about what gratitude is and looks like and what it does for your relationship, then you need to now make a plan for what you can do to increase gratitude in your relationship. Maybe you might say something like, I'm going to try to praise more of the good things because I think I have a problem with that too. I'm going to try to praise you 6 to 10 times for every one time I correct you. And how about you try to praise me 6 to 10 times in a day as well? That might make a big difference in our relationship if we're trying on purpose, deliberately looking for the good. Make a plan for finding the good, for promoting gratitude. Don't just be on the defensive. Let's go offensive here. Let's go proactive instead of just reactive in all of our parenting interactions. Then we also have to make a plan though for what to do when a person is not showing gratitude or they're being ungrateful. So we just talked about our proactive plan for being grateful on purpose. Now is the time that we're going to talk about what to do when things don't go right and somebody is ungrateful. So I would say to my child, what type of a negative consequence would help you not want to be ungrateful, not want to be rude? They might come up with some sort of a negative consequence, like, well, if I had to do an extra chore every time, or if I had to do 30 minutes every time I was disrespectful, 30 minutes of work, that is, every time I was disrespectful, then I maybe would not want to be disrespectful as much anymore. They might come up with something, it could be anything, and then you talk with them about it, and the two of you come up with a plan for what type of negative consequence they are going to need to be fully successful at conquering this bad habit. Because in the end, that's what it is a bad habit. Then you follow through. So you need the steps for correction, and I want to share those steps for a really effective correction with you. A correction that's going to be predictable and will hopefully unite your hearts together. So I have another video. It's a full-length class that goes into some of the nuts and bolts about setting up a self-governing environment in your home and how to correct some of those troubling behaviors. You will want to go to this video called The Not So Known Secret to Parenting Success now, so that you can learn how to do those corrections for your children, so that when they are being ungrateful, disrespectful, and rude, you have the words to say that are different from what you're already saying. We know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and expecting different results. Let's get some new words that they can learn and be ready for, and that you can use so that you don't fall into old habits, so that in the end, everybody can calmly solve this ungratefulness problem. Click on the link to that video now.